Good morning, Sally. You're looking very fresh.
A little bit of cup vasculitis. Yeah, it's Melbourne Cup Day, Harry. And it's so bizarre because, of course, no one's able to get to the races. It's been very weird watching the TV with nobody there.
So years ago when I lived in Melbourne, we used to have a boat, trailer sailor. And
Right.
some years the other guys in our club would go up the river and watch the Melbourne Cup from the water because
Oh,
there's a
right.
river by part of the course. But we never did that. Why do you think that was, Sal?
Because you may have been doing something else, Harry.
We were doing something else, exactly. What we did was we used to go up to a little river, well, not so little, quite a large river called the Hawkwa, which is one of the rivers that flows around Mount Buller
Mm-hmm.
in the Great Dividing Range. And we would always go there on Cup weekend. We'd take the Friday off and the Monday off.
Yeah.
We get 4 days down there.
It's beautiful. It's
And
so.
if it was weather like today,
Mm.
it'd be like mid 30s, high 30s in the valley, and snow melt water.
Wow, beautiful, Harry. Beautiful. So, yes, absolutely. Today we're talking about camping. Camping. So, you've been doing that all your life, I take it.
Yes, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to do in this beautiful country in which we live.
Absolutely. And, looking at all the stats, it's absolutely its peak. What did I say here? I think it's the most popular sort of, it's the most popular accommodation option for Australians. So it's like in the last year, Australians spent a total of 59 million nights caravan and camping in a year. It's absolutely at the top. I think, what did it say? Tourism Research Australia said it's at record highs now, 11.84 million nights rolling annually. So the people are really into it. And, you've just had your recent purchase as well.
So, Sally, this is a personal question. Are you ready for a personal question?
Every week you throw them at me. Bring it on.
When you were a little girl,
Yeah.
when you held your dad's hand and trusted him,
Mm-hmm.
did he take you camping?
Mm, not camping, no, but away, weekends
So
away.
one of the things that happens when you take kids away camping is you
Yep.
build these incredible memories.
Yes. I mean, I've camping with Girl Guides and brownies and stuff. Absolutely, those are so etched in my memory. Absolutely, making pancakes on the top of we had a tin and you put holes in it, and then you put a candle underneath it, and then you made pancakes on top. All those sort of things, like really roughing it. That's why I love Scouts and Cubs and that sort of stuff, because you're getting out in the great outdoors. I love it.
And I bet, Sal, that you have got friends from around those campfires
Yeah.
still.
How good is a campfire, Harry? It's the best. Kumbaya and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
I backpacked for 3 years, and a lot of my accommodation was just camping out under the stars, because if I hired a car, then I wouldn't pay for accommodation. So I had a japara that I would just lie down on and had my sleeping bag in my backpack and just looking up at the stars. The stars when you're camping are incredible.
Mm.
Amazing. I spent so many nights just out in forests and just lying with my sleeping bag, just looking up at the stars, just so beautiful. And campfires, Harry, you just went on a recent trip, and that was incredible. That footage you put together, the slow-mo stuff of the fire, beautiful.
There's something wonderful about a campfire. I mean, it's primeval. Homo sapiens has been doing it since the dawn of time. There's something wonderful about watching the flames.
Mm,
The colors really,
mm.
I don't know, it's magnetic. And food cooked on a campfire tastes so good.
And even, I'm not into the marshmallow thing, but nothing beats a stick with a marshmallow on the end, and
So sweet. Yeah, I can't do it anymore.
No, no, me either. But what's it called? S'mores or something, where you can put the biscuits together, and is it marshmallow in between and it melts together? It's an American thing.
It sounds horrifically sweet.
But No, you're right. It is magnetic around a campfire, and it really does bond people as well. It's beautiful.
You get put in a place, I think, by there's something in the flickering of the flames that gets you into a really grounded space outdoors
Mm,
where you can have the most wonderful conversations.
mm.
Yeah,
So you've got plenty of camping coming up, Harry, with your new van.
we have. But you don't need a van to go out camping. All you need is a tent, a sleeping bag, and a pot. Yeah,
You don't even need a tent, Harry. I did it for years without a tent.
yeah.
I remember being in America somewhere, and they had the grizzly bears, and they come down out of the mountains, and they can even sniff out toothpaste. So you had to lock everything up, and it was quite frightening hearing the bears as you're lying out under the stars, thinking, "Oh man, I hope I'll be okay tonight." But yeah,
Like one time we took a whole lot of Southerners to to the bottom end of Kakadu.
wow,
We were sleeping there in tents, and there's a lot of wild horses
right,
in Kakadu. And they came up right around the tents, and some of the people got a real shock and got quite scared
wow,
because
wow.
they're not going to stand on a tent.
Yeah. Kakadu is amazing. Where's one of the best places that you've been camping, Harry? Because you've done it a lot around Australia.
My favourite place in Kakadu is a place called Gunlom or UDP Falls down the bottom.
Yep,
It's where Crocodile Dundee was shot, the iconic shots.
beautiful.
And if you climb up the escarpment, you have this wonderful patch of rainforest around the river, which goes over the escarpment. And I used to go up there. I used to race up there every morning, see whether I could do it in, 7 minutes.
Of course you did.
Vertical climb. And you
Oh,
get up the top and there's these rocks and they look soft because they're so smooth, but they're hard as anything. And then you look around, there may be 8, 9 trees. They're all different varieties.
yeah, wow.
And then it's got this amazing, infinite, the way the river flows over the falls, you've got this infinity pool at the edge.
Divine,
Yeah,
divine. There's nothing,
stunning. So that would be one of my favorites. That would be my favorite spot. Yeah.
yeah, just connecting with nature. It's just so awesome. And that's, I think, particularly through this lockdown or through the COVID thing, people are really reconnecting back to nature. And it's the simple things. You don't think so?
No, I don't think it's got anything to do with COVID. Now, I'm going to read you out a shocking stat. You
Really?
ready? You're
Shocking.
holding on to your seat?
Bracing myself, Harry.
75% of UK children spend less time outside than prison inmates.
Whoa, Harry, that's a shocking stat.
Probably similar in a lot of highly urbanized societies.
Yeah.
So this has got nothing to do with COVID. This is a lifestyle issue.
Wow. I look, okay, re kids. I think everybody made a concerted effort to get outside. You know, you don't think so?
I
I
don't. I
like,
don't. There are whole swags of communities which are reared in these high-rise apartments
yeah,
in Sydney and Melbourne where they don't have the opportunity.
yeah, yeah.
They may want to, but there's no green space near them.
That's a frightening fact.
And I wouldn't be investing in one.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think the prices are going to hold up, to be honest.
yeah, yeah.
I would call them little shit boxes.
Well, we've spoken about it before too, like even with the electromagnetic radiation between the concrete floors and within, it's like a vibrating sort of, I don't know, toxic environment.
The phrase you're looking for is Faraday cages.
What?
A Faraday cage is a grid which doesn't allow signals in or out.
Right, right, right.
And
Yeah.
if you're in a box like that,
Yep.
with the reinforced concrete around you, it forms a Faraday cage.
Right. It's frightening.
And
Frightening.
if you've ever been to visit somebody in a high rise and you have a look on your phone, the number of Wi-Fi points goes for pages,
Wow.
pages and pages. There'll be dozens,
Yeah.
dozens and dozens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think this outdoor issue is a widespread issue,
Yeah.
and I've got a lovely story which shocks some mothers when I tell them.
Yeah.
One of my mums was a Chinese mum, and she used to like reading The Australian on the weekend,
Mhm.
but she wanted peace and quiet. So she would, with her little boy, she had a little boy, she'd drive to the edge of a pine forest, which was about 3 or 4 K across,
Mhm.
and she'd stop on one side and she'd let her boy out, and he would then navigate across the pine forest. It's about 5.
Wow. Wow.
She would read the Weekend Australian. When she'd finished, she'd drive around to the prearranged pickup point on the other side, and they'd meet.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
So there's a lot of fear around what might happen. Oh, Sally might fall out of the tree and hurt herself. And what are we going to do?
Yeah, Cottonwood kids. Yep, yep.
When was the last time you climbed a tree, Sal?
Oh, I actually, I've had a couple of drinks. I love climbing trees, believe it or not. It's ridiculous. So
Good, good,
I actually always love climbing trees. It's one of my,
good,
yeah.
good, fantastic.
And then when you get,
And
you get that, fear, like, how am I going to get down?
I think climbing trees is like facing your fears,
Right.
because you can't fall off if you don't climb.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that never climb.
Oh, I love all this. Yeah, absolutely, Harry.
And the real benefit in letting a child go out camping, obviously you supervise them away from dangers.
Yeah,
So if there's a cliff, you make sure they don't go to the cliff and so on.
yeah,
But other than that, you let them free range.
yeah.
And there's a wonderful book called Free Range Kids for those who are scared to let their kids free range.
Yeah.
The reason why it's so powerful to allow your kids to free range in a relatively safe environment, but one that has some dangers, is that they experiment, they build capacity,
Yeah.
they embrace adventure, they embrace risk.
Yeah, yeah.
That builds their capacity to do that later in life.
Yeah.
And if we haven't done that as children, it's very much harder to embrace risk later on in life.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's lots of studies that show if you bring up a child without any sharp corners in a house, they find it more difficult to cope in life because they haven't fallen over and hurt themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you look at the Norwegian, the Scandinavian model of early childhood education, it's about being outside in nature.
Yeah.
And why is that, Sal?
Oh, well, it's life skills and everything that you're acquiring. It's like, it's amazing.
Exactly. But really underneath that is because children build their brains most powerfully if they can play freely outside.
Yeah. And we've spoken about this before. Is it in Singapore or something where they have the kindy where it's all outside? It's just out in the forest.
No, it's in Scandinavia. Yeah. Singapore is a whole nother ball. They have mostly apartments. There's not much land.
Yeah, yeah. I know, and that's why we're so blessed here.
Yes.
Just so blessed with the great outdoors. Absolutely.
So, Sal, are you going to go out camping with your gardener?
Well, why not? It's like once we can get out of 25K, absolutely. Top of the thing is to get out into the regional areas, go exploring and support the regional economies as well. Who knows when the borders are going to be whatever's, but yeah, absolutely. Can't wait.
Mm.
Just before lockdown, I went to Bright, and I think we spoke about that, and it was just beautiful. The hikes and, such a beautiful country, little town. It's just awesome. It was interesting here looking at where the popular places that people go camping or caravanning, the beach and bushwalking. They were the top two. And and eating out was an absolutely favorite activity out of it all, which is, boosts the local economy and, saves you having another barbecue and whatever, it's a treat. you can eat out. So as I know, I went out for the first time, Harry, the other day, for the first time in months to a restaurant. It was very surreal. We had 1 hour limit and it was fantastic. But it's, you know, you appreciate the little things. So when you're camping, you really do appreciate a nice meal or a hot shower sometimes, you know.
What did you have in your restaurant meal?
Vietnamese. It was one of the last restaurants I went to before we went into lockdown. It's just a local place around the corner, but they make really authentic Vietnamese food and the spring rolls. Oh, I don't often have fried food, but that was just the best.
So give them a shout out.
Yeah, Le Tonkin in High Street in Armidale. Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, let's support local business. Yeah.
Absolutely, because so many have shut down. And so this is a birthday week for our family. Got Jack's birthday tomorrow, and then my sister's on Friday, and another friend on Sunday. So we're just booking wherever we can, you know, total of 4 people, but that's okay. And you know what I'm doing, Harry, for my girlfriend's birthday on Sunday? We're getting one of these they're electric boats and going cruising along the Yarra. And they actually came from Scandinavia, and they're electric, and they're all very eco-friendly, and going exploring. It'll be fun.
Very good. All we'll hear are the girly giggles.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Now, I did a model today. Did you?
Have you got a fishing rod, Sal?
Yes, I do.
You going to take your fishing rod on the weekend?
I've got this issue with fishing because it's a bit like watching paint dry, and I don't like to kill fish.
But the boat will be silent because it's got an electric motor.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can just hang it over the back, and your girl can do the killing.
Yeah. You know, since fishing we're allowed to go back fishing along the banks of the Yarra in the past week, so many people are fishing. It must be such a therapeutic sort of activity for a lot of people. It's not my thing, but
I think a lot of people go fishing to get away from their wives.
Well, it's so funny because I've only seen men fishing.
Exactly, and I bet they have the esky there as well.
Yeah, they do.
Not full of fish, I can tell you that.
Hilarious. Oh, here we go. What's another stat? 94% of people who go camping agree it teaches life skills to kids, and it's just that whole education. And it's interesting because there's such a wide demographic of people who go camping, but the most prominent is the 30 to 54 year market. And so you're in would you categorise yourself as a grey nomad?
In the 30 to 54 age group? Well, I was at one point.
The second most popular group is 55 plus. I would have thought it would have been above the younger age group, just with.
Well, I think the thing is, when you're younger, like you said, when you were backpacking, you can tolerate physical discomfort more easily. So I'm actually surprised that age group isn't lower, you know, the most popular.
Yeah.
But I guess people are having kids later, so that's probably why it's pushed it up.
Well, there were 3 main groups that came up. Families that go camping, grey nomads, you know, the retirees, chasing the sunsets, and young groups, and they're more into glamping. So as you said, you know, people are putting up with all the rocks in your back when you're lying down. It's like, oh, I did that for years and get stiff neck. So now glamping, and very popular.
Yes, indeed. That's good. So there's a survey by Public Health in England, and they're concerned about alienation from nature because it reduces resilience and it increases anxiety. One of the things about sitting around a campfire, being in nature, is that you naturally relax.
Yep.
You're more likely to take your shoes off. You're more likely to ground yourself through the soles of your feet. That has great benefits in terms of cancelling out EMF and so on. You're less likely to be on a device anyway, hopefully not likely at all. Increased sun exposure improves, and camping, where daylight is the time when you stay up, and nighttime is when you go to bed. You increase your circadian rhythm, you improve sleep, you build stronger bones. You have lots of aerobic exercise without even knowing it. You know, it's not like you pay your membership and go to the gym. You're just getting out there, enjoying it. I mean, one of the things I love to do I mean, I think water is really important when camping, is to build a little dam.
Yeah, right.
Heaving rocks and piling it up, and you make a little waterfall.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you go to bed and you're all sore the next day. And you wonder, how did that happen? You didn't even notice you were doing it.
When you went camping just recently, what was it that you had over the campfire? Was it tea or what were you cooking over that?
We were cooking a curry.
A curry. Get
Yeah.
out of town. A curry.
Curry, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not like damper in the old days.
Yeah, damper's really nice, but yeah, no, curry. Most nights we had cooked dinner on the campfire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because you can get these arrangements where there's a pole that you hammer into the earth, like a thick pole.
Yep.
Steel, and then you hang like a steel wok or frying pan off it,
Right.
with a hole in the cooking implement that's slightly larger than the steel pole, so it naturally wedges in place. By
Right.
lifting it, you can slide it up and down with a glove on,
Yep.
but once it's sitting there, it doesn't move. And then you can swing them in and out over the fire in an arc.
Oh, very cool.
So you've got complete control over the heat. And if you build a nice fire quickly, like, lay the bits of wood like that on
Yep.
top of each other,
Yep.
build a little pyramid, it'll go to coals real quick, very little smoke. And then you just cook on the coals. It's super good.
Yeah. Oh man, I can actually picture it and smell it.
Yeah.
The smell of the fire. Hey, it's awesome. Well, I did a little model today, just a little one.
Good.
So, first of all, when you engage, when you're going camping, caravanning, whatever it is, you're engaging with yourself, you're engaging with your loved ones, and you're engaging with nature. And then when you engage, next step is then to explore, explore new areas, new regions, getting into the great outdoors. And then the third thing after you've engaged and started exploring, then you're educating. You're educating your kids, you're learning more life skills, just educating about the region that you're in, just all about life. So when you engage and explore, you then start to relax. You turn off from the stress of the city life and all the noise, just the noise. You're just turning off from that. And when you start exploring and educating, then you start to reveal lots of new understandings about, new education about people that you might meet or whatever it is, how to light a fire, all those new sort of skills. And then when you're engaging and educating, you're renewing and feeling much more refreshed overall. So that's all part of the huge benefits of camping and caravanning and just turning off and running away. So, getting out, reconnecting.
So I think there's a difference between camping and caravanning, because the campfire is important. It really is. I think that's central to any camping experience.
Yep.
As I think access to water is.
Yep.
Natural water, whether it's beach or river. So my model is, first of all, connect to nature.
Yep.
And then cultivate adventure and experience. And then build your circadian rhythm. So if we connect and cultivate, we build resilience to shocks.
Yeah, good one.
Particularly in children. And then we build confidence and we support health. And overall, what we do is we build integration, which as a therapist is the ability to cope with, all the stuff that daily life throws to us. It means we can integrate it, make sense of it, process it, and grow. One of the things that I noticed whenever we took our kids away camping was that they'd come back seeming larger. They grew up a whole chunk.
Yeah.
Because they had that, great experience of building a campfire together.
Yep.
Yes, kids building a campfire together. Why not?
Yeah.
Or building a dam, or rafting down the river.
Yeah.
Or collecting firewood, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or sitting on the roof rack while we went through big puddles. That was the favourite. Faster, Dad, faster.
Did you do a lot of camping when you were at school? Because my boys have done a lot of camping.
Yes.
Mm.
Yep. Well, I had a year in the bushes,
Oh, you did timber top, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, it's highly important. Absolutely. And that's why I
So,
always loved scouts and guides and brownies. I think it's
yes. So I got a couple more stats, one more stat anyway. I looked up National Geographic. How many kids do you think now climb trees, Sal?
oh,
Percent.
declined a lot. So I have no idea. Just
Make a guess.
10%?
In 19.
19% of kids. Yeah.
1 in 5. 4 in 5 don't.
It's really interesting, Harry, because every day I do my walk and I go around the tan, and I've started walking through the Botanic Gardens, and there's one particular little spot, and all the young kids run there to climb the tree, and it's really cool. It's like it's really good to see that it's still existing. Climbing trees
Well,
is
take a picture and you can add it to this blog.
yeah, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
love it.
So my 3 steps for camping are: agree on a destination,
Yep,
prioritize off a place that is off grid, because that's going to be most beneficial,
yep, good one.
and ensure that you have access to natural water.
Yep,
And I guarantee you'll have fun.
absolutely. You're right about the water thing. That's not one thing that was in my mind, but yeah, absolutely, you need the water for lots of reasons.
That's right. Not to mention, how are we going to make the tea if you don't have water?
Absolutely, and wash your hands and wash.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's a really good topic, Harry, and it is something that's particularly now we're taking great advantage of. So,
And who knows, Sal, maybe one day we'll go camping together.
oh, that would be so much fun. That would be so much fun. The only thing that scares me about camping is snakes, and that's just me. I just can't get over it. And that's what I asked you when you recently went camping. You said, yeah, but you make the noise so they run away. So,
You want to know my worst snake story?
oh yeah, bring it on.
Okay. So nighttime, I think it was a little girl, got into her sleeping bag, zipped it up.
Oh,
Now, do you know how hard it is to get out of a zipped up sleeping bag?
yes.
Fast? Like it's impossible.
Oh, it would just be, I would be, oh
Yeah.
my Lord.
So there was a snake at the bottom of the sleeping bag.
Oh, that's the
And,
worst story I've heard.
and guess what it did when the girl got in and started kicking it?
Oh, bitter?
Yes, repeatedly.
Oh, did she survive?
Yeah. But
Oh,
what's the moral of the story?
check your sleeping bag before you go to bed.
No.
Uh,
Let the snake get in the sleeping bag.
yeah, so must have had it lying out, I suppose. Yeah. Oh,
Zip your tent up
oh, zip your tent up.
and you're not in there. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think there's a great benefit. I know you said you found as an adult sleeping under the stars was great, but I think there's a great thing about being in a tent, even if it's only just a fly mesh,
Yeah, yeah.
because it does protect you from those things that might bite you.
Oh, it's so funny because my sister, for many years, the kids would go at her property out in the country, put the tents up, and that
Yeah.
was great. They would camp all the time, and we'd go out and they'd be zipped up, and then scare them on the outside of the thing, and they'd really freak out, and with foxes, of course, because foxes run around. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and some of them would come in during the night because they just got too scared. But for many years, the kids loved putting the tents up. Even I rented places, holiday houses, and they put a tent up out the back, and they
Yeah.
loved
Yeah. Yeah. It's great exercise.
it. It gets pretty smelly when you get smelly kids in there. I tell you, the scariest camping I've done was Anzac Day, and it was must have been what 100 anniversary or something, whenever it was, a few years back now. And so we all camped at I think it was Flemington Racecourse, somewhere like that. But we took out the swags. And so I had for the kids 2 people swags, but we had these massive storms. So some were just sleeping out under the stars. And because the rain was so heavy, we had a 2-person swag with 5 people in it. And oh my Lord, talk about suffocating. That was just frightening.
Wow.
That was scary. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the worst experience I had was when I was at school, and you picked people to go camping with or walking, as this was.
Yeah.
And I picked a gung-ho walker just to experience it. And we walked about 120k through the bush on a 3-day weekend.
Wow.
With packs. The
Whoa.
first night, we found this nice little nook, put our tents up in it. No, sorry, it was the second night. And then it rained. And of course, it ended up a riverbed.
Oh.
We woke up with water pouring through the tent.
Whoa.
Completely soaked, everything soaked. So 1 a.m, we get up, break camp, pack everything up. Packs are really heavy.
Yep.
It's pouring with rain. We walk until dawn, and then we hit a fork in the road that isn't on the map.
Whoa.
We have to throw a coin.
Oh, cool. Cool.
And we were getting worried because we're really cold and we're wet through.
Yeah, there's nothing worse.
Yeah. So, and luckily, the road we took went back to where we hoped. But
Right way, yeah.
that was my toughest experience.
Wow, because there's nothing worse than when you get wet. I was a Boy Scout in London,
How
and
could you have been a Boy Scout?
I was a Girl Scout. It's when they first allowed girls into.
Pretending to be a boy.
Well, I was an Air Scout actually, because the uniform was blue, not the normal khaki. It's when they first allowed women into the Scouts in London, and they needed some female leaders, and so I became a Scout. But we did a lot of camping, and it was often very wet, and that's where I was first introduced to baked beans.
Right.
Until camping. But when you get wet, there's nothing worse. And when you've got to keep hiking and your shoes are wet, and when the bedding gets wet, and you just got to re-sleep in wet stuff, and it's just like it's not very comfortable. And when you get wet during the night and you just can't get warm, it's hot. It's awful.
Yeah, the benefits of synthetic sleeping bags, which are still warm when they're wet.
Yeah, right.
Unlike the down ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did actually a video on the benefits of outdoor play.
Did you? Right.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah. Or pop it in the bottom of this.
Yeah, will do.
Mm.
Awesome.
All righty. Well, I must be off because it's Cup Day here, and preparing salad for a Cup Day lunch at my sister's. So,
have you put a little bet on, Sal?
well, yeah. Actually, every year we sort of somehow get onto online betting. It's the only time I do it. So, it's
Have you got a favourite? Have you got a tip for our watchers?
No, I've got no tips at all. I was watching it this morning, and I just go by either the jockey's clothes or the name of the horse.
Yeah. Well, good luck, Sal.
Yeah, thank you. You too, Harry. You're going to put a little bit of a bet on?
Probably not, but I'll be thinking of you and your bet.
3 o'clock anyway. That's when the race is on today.
Yeah. Okay.
All righty then. I'll catch you next week.
Next week. Bye.